This is a beautiful sight. The world is beautiful indeed. But for a blind person, this is nothing but solid dark. It is said that the first ray of the day is the harbinger of a new beginning. It depicts freedom, freedom from darkness, and a step into the world of light and inspiration, an impetus to achieve our goals for a purposeful life. But there exists a world beyond this brightness and colors, the world of black, an assumed world of images and colors. That's the world of a blind, where every perception is guarded through the enhanced senses of smell, touch and hearing, but not sight. There are no colors, but there are visual delusions. There's no light, but there are dreams. There's no direction, but there exists a support, the stick.
The world of the blind is covered with darkness. When a person loses his vision, it seems that he has lost everything, because he cannot appreciate the color, he cannot see the vision, visual world, the beauty of the visual world.
Does the sight of a blind induce a sense of pity in you? If yes, you're making the same mistake which most of us do. Watch them closely and you'd realize the courage and the confidence they're wrapped in. They are the people who actually negotiate obstacles at every step.
In my case, I can do. I'm not inferior to anyone, because I have learned, I have got my education, I have done everything, I am maintaining my family life, and I'm just earning money, and just everything I'm doing like others.
Visual impairment is one of the most common diseases in the world today. Cataract, trachoma and glaucoma together account for more than 70% of the world's blindness. In India, the three diseases account for about 74% of those who are blind. India shoulders the largest burden of global blindness, with about 320,000 children under the age of 16 blind. India was the first country in the world to initiate a dedicated program for eradicating avoidable blindness. However, the magnitude of the problem is enormous. But with the help of dedicated projects and participation, we look forward for a brighter tomorrow. Wealthy Indians had contributed significantly to make charitable donations and provide food for poor, blind or otherwise disabled people in the traditional manner. One of the most promising one in Bengal was made by Dwarkanath Tagore, an affluent landlord and grandfather of Rabindranath Tagore, who made a startling announcement of a big donation of 100,000 to the District Charitable Society in 1838. The Europeans were naturally stunned, and so were the Indians. The amount was utilized by the society according to the wish of the donor in establishing the Dwarkanath Fund for Poor Blind. The Braille system was devised in 1821 by Louis Braille. It's a method that is widely used by blind people to read and write. Each Braille character or cell is made up of 6 dot positions arranged in a rectangle containing 2 columns of 3 dots each. A dot may be raised or at any of the 6 positions to form 63 combinations. The Braille system was based on a method of communication originally developed by Charles Babbage in response to Napoleon's demand for a code that soldiers could use to communicate silently and without light at night, called night writing. Braille identified the major failing of the code, which was that the human finger could not encompass the whole symbol without moving, and so could not move rapidly from one symbol to another. His modification was to use a 6-dot cell, the Braille system, which revolutionized written communication for the blind.
He took only 6 dots and arranged permutation and combination, and through this system he invented 63 characters, and now we read in different forms.
The comprehensive effort of Webel Mediatronics Limited has been to address the requirements of the visually impaired, like reading, writing, teaching, learning, printing, communication, rehabilitation, etc. Incorporated in 1981 with an objective of developing electronics industry in the state of West Bengal, WML is working for the development, manufacturing and turnkey project execution in areas of studio and broadcasting system, industrial electronics, information technology applications and various systems for the disabled.
You have to emboss on Braille paper, which needs a lot of efforts. It is difficult for a small child, for example, to give that amount of force with their very tender fingers to type using a Braille typewriter. So we have basically taken a mechanical typewriter which is used for typing in Braille and added electronics, removed part of the mechanicals and converted that into an electronic printer. So that has become highly successful.
In conjunction with the government machinery, Webel Mediatronics Limited is developing IT-enabled Braille education infrastructure in 30 special schools for visually impaired under the national project called Information Technology for the Braille Literacy in Indian Languages. This project is sponsored by the Department of IT, Ministry of Communications and Information Technology, Government of India. And at the state level, Webel is developing IT-enabled Braille education infrastructure in 27 special schools and 2 libraries.
In 2000, we got a very big project under which we had to develop various gadgets like embosser, tactile devices, Braille keyboard and a number of softwares for various activities of computerization of Braille education particularly, and subsequently we added to it to make it help visually handicapped people to get adjusted to working environment along with sighted people also.
Easy Braille, an interactive multimedia based CD-ROM, was developed by Webel for the sighted persons. The training CD-ROM encompasses from simple alphabet to complex contraction rules in a very simple language. To enhance comprehension, it is supported by audio. It is based on the standard rule books followed in India and abroad. This interactive Braille training program is available in English, Hindi, Bangla, Oriya, Assamese, Marathi, Gujarati, Punjabi, Tamil, Kannada, Telugu and Malayalam languages.
These systems by and large are now working in 110 different schools in 22 states across the country. What is also worth mentioning is that we have developed this in English as well as in 12 vernacular languages.
E-classroom also a new innovation, a new development for Weibull. E-classroom is electronic classroom where a teacher can operate the computer and the students can write down according to the dictation of the computer on 8 keyboards. There is a provision of 8 students with 8 keyboards which will be operated by the direction and instruction of the teacher from the computer table. It is a very new thing and it will help us in a sense that nowadays the blind students are given scribe or amanuensis for writing their examination script answers.
Braille publication has been tardy in India because of lack of resources. The painstaking process of transcribing normal texts into Braille and printing them in large numbers. The impediments have now been taken care of by technologies developed by Weibull Mediatronics Limited. The transcription system installed at the blind schools are being used for the first time for printing textbooks, question papers, class notes, notices, etc. IT has facilitated a qualitative change in Braille education. Currently, the system covers transcription in 13 Indian languages. The system consists of a PC, keyboard with particular Indian language layout and an automatic Braille embosser.
Being a Hindi medium school, now we have been able to produce books for them, their textbooks. We can print out books for our students, and there's a lot of work that goes on in school, various help papers and examination papers and all those things, and it has greatly helped us in become more efficient in dealing with the needs of the school. We have published over 60 or 70 titles of books.
Welcome to English Direct Braille. To open a new file, write in DEA.
Direct Braille has been largely helpful in rehabilitating the visually challenged people. With the help of this software, one can work in a regular office environment while being able to type, edit and compile texts in English or in any of the available Indian languages. Direct Braille provides a computerized setup consisting of a masked keyboard, the software and a modified Perkins Brailler attached with a multimedia PC. The Braille Writer software decodes the Braille code from the keyboard and generates the Braille characters on display as well as in print. It also converts the Braille codes into its corresponding text, which can be printed using the text editing software iLeap.
Weibull Mediatronics, their development in such a way, the tuning, their voice is very common and they are commonly hearing, and they can easily take up and grip up to learn everything in a easy and good way.
The concept of e-library brought in by WML initiates for a paperless reading for the visually impaired. A countrywide electronic braille library is now a possibility using computers, internet and the tactile readers. One computer can be connected with 8 tactile readers simultaneously, whereby each user can access separate text files and read them. The administrator librarian can control and monitor the access of the data.
According to the choice of the reader, if he says that I want to read David Copperfield by Charles Dickens, he will just operate it and operate the key, and that book will be immediately available for the reader. So in this way, actually speaking, the aim of education of the blind is to make them gradually independent.
In the process of attaining perfection in providing facilities and infrastructure to the visually impaired, another accolade was added when Webel Mediatronics Limited received the National Award for developing automatic braille embosser in the year 2000 from the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India.
IIT Kharagpur, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, ISI Kolkata, to name a few, who have actually helped us and guided us in developing these assistive devices and softwares. And also for development of the mathematics, we owe our acknowledgement to ICEVI, who has helped us in fact understanding the concepts on which this mathematics software has been developed. Another thing worth mentioning is that whatever we develop, we do it in close interactions with the end users. So we give samples and prototypes to the blind schools. We go there, they use it, we take their feedback, and based on their feedback, we take corrective measures to perfect them as much as possible.
The journey towards providing every visually impaired a self-sufficient and purposeful life is becoming concrete day by day. The biggest victory for WML is that they've been successful in making the facilities for learning Braille accessible in nearly every part of the target sites. Students are getting more interest in Braille education as they use computers. Today, a blind school can meet the day-to-day demand of Braille locally without being dependent on a remote Braille press. Teaching mathematics and science to the visually impaired students with Math Braille software is a reality now. The concepts of e-classrooms and e-library for the visually impaired have become a reality.
পড়াশোনা আর কম্পিউটার যখন শিখে পড়াশোনার থেকে সব কিছু মানে পড়াশোনা হাতে লিখে হাতে ইয়ে করি, কম্পিউটার সেটা তাড়াতাড়ি হচ্ছে। কোনো কিছু হয়তো আমরা কি বলবো একটা বই লিখবো, সেই পড়াশোনা হাতে যে স্লেটের লেখার থেকে ইয়েতে তাড়াতাড়ি হবে। আমরা পড়াশোনার থেকে এতে তাড়াতাড়ি সব কিছু শিখতে পারবো।
Webel has published the complete works of Rabindranath Tagore in Braille in Bangla. These would be distributed in blind schools across the state.
I have read so many books of Tagore, and I have actually speaking found solace, found consolation of my loss of vision, because there is avenue, there is room for our consolation from the daily drudgery of life. Tagore has painted so many characters, so many situations through which we go, we have to read, and when we read, then we can console ourselves that our visual tragedy is no tragedy at all.
Even today, probably Lot of compassion has come for the blind people, but even today we don't accept them as a part of the normal community. So our motto and vision is that gradually we bring them into the normal community and they don't stay as a discarded class.
If you look at the map of India, you would find Webble has reached every corner of the nation. The Department of Information and Technology has not only sponsored the project, it has been providing regular guidance through its project review and steering group.
मैं वारी वारी जाऊं प्रीतम पर, मैं वारी वारी जाऊं